deposit came in. Gotta do it soon. Running out of time, guys. Alright, so front subframe's out. It's fun to take the car apart, but then it's just like this rabbit hole of things you gotta spend money on, and you're like, it was working, why did I take it apart? But it'll make it easier for us at the racetrack, and it'll work even better than it was. Here's a fresh set. Here's the rear brake stuff. This is the fun part. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back. We're almost done with the super fun part. By me saying that, I mean painting, cleaning the underside of the wheel wells and whatnot. I just sprayed it right here, guys. I have a lot of cans of pre-made, same color. And this is what I do in the off season. I clean it up. So I kind of wire wheel it or wire brush it, brake clean it, then I hit it again. Gets a little gray here, but I'll mop this and I'll brake clean it, mop it. We'll get it all back to normal. So it's just concrete with skid marks on it because it's a shop. It's not like I have epoxied floors. Not trying to, because I want to be able to work in my shop. Okay, so then coming back here, took everything out, even took the firewall out, cleaned it, wire brushed it, got it all, you know, as much of the crud and dust, and I brake clean it, trying to get it looking, you know, beautiful before I paint it, and then mask it. I first mask this, then I paint that, then vice versa. So the last thing I did was this black back here, and then I did the wheel well, which the wheel well just gets destroyed with rubber, as you guys would know in a drift car, but I don't know, for some reason I want to make it look nice before the season starts. Probably a waste of my time, but I do it. In this rocker, I have some expanding foam, as you can see here. I gotta do something about that, because hot rubber gets in there and it melts. See that little pocket? So probably gotta add some more expanding foam. And then back here, I'm gonna put a panel of aluminum. Even though that's bent, I'll probably hammer that and try and straighten it a little bit. Probably should have done that first, because now I'm gonna end up marring up my fresh black paint. Anyways, I'm gonna do that, put a little panel there so it keeps some of the rocks and rubber from flying in there. You're always gonna get stuff in here. This side's a little better off. Then I'm gonna hit that with paint too, because we want it to just kind of blend and not look like expanding foam. But if I don't have the expanding foam in there, this fills up with rubber and rocks. That stuff's done. I can kind of almost start putting stuff back together. First though, I know these still work, but these have been through a lot of years. I was gonna put freshies on there. Same with the front ones. I don't know when the last time I built new ones of those, probably like 4 years ago. So I'm gonna build new front ones, new rear ones, and then we could go in with the subframes. I guess possibly, think I still need to do some, well, I gotta put the knuckles on back here. That's about it, but I don't know if I showed you guys these. Have you seen these yet? I made new upper control arms because I was working with different companies, ones that would break, and then I started making my own out of tubular stuff, and I just eventually was like, one day I'm gonna build my own. And that day has come, and I made billet upper control arms, and they are adjustable while on the car. If you think about it, loosen that, loosen this, and then you spin this, it's gonna extend while on the car without having to take this, remove this heim out of your spindle, because it's got this double adjuster. And they're both 1.5 thread pitch, so it moves evenly. This one is normal thread, this one's reverse thread to lock them down. It's got sphericals up here with the offset spacers so that it slides right into the subframe. It's a beautiful part. I bought the most expensive heims you can get basically for my drift car because I'm going to war with it, but I'm gonna sell them with just the normal industrial heims that would be far more than you need on a street car. But if you're doing Formula Drift or something with 1,000 horsepower and putting all the grip in, you might want to upgrade the heims, I guess. These won't be on the website for a while, but I made lots of pairs of them because I'm gonna need multiples for all my cars, so then I have more to sell to you guys as well. Just a lot of stuff going on here, but over the last couple of days, I've got the chassis like super clean and happy, so it looks nice and presentable for the return of our FD season. And then that's front and back. There's stuff I still need to do to mount the side skirts. So see how there's like, you know, a wheel has hit here and here or whatever during me bumping someone or someone bumping me over the years. And then if you look at this surface here, like you see how it's scraping the door? It should have been a little lower, and so it's pushed in kind of everywhere, which once the skirt's on, it's not too noticeable and the door still closes, but it just scuffs the paint there. This side I might not do too much with because I can still get both or all three of the nut zerts are for the side skirt. This side looks like crap. As you see, this one had blown out before and I had welded in a flange nut upside down. This one ripped out and then I switched the area where it goes. Like this side's just, this one takes all the beating for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm on that side, and so if I cause this, like I'm gonna cause it harder on this side than that side. But people have hit me on this side and that side, but then I hit people harder on this side for some reason. I need to figure out what I'm gonna do here, and what I'm thinking is I need to cut this open so that I can flatten this out and get it out of the way of the door so the door can swing open and close. But then on top of that, I need to then make at least 3 places for the side skirt to mount. It doesn't have to look beautiful because I'm 100% gonna dent it. Maybe not this year, but in the future it will get dented again. So what I'm thinking is, this is my thought, cut this open on both sides to flatten that out to clear the door better, and then find a way to like weld it back shut, and then add just some form of tabs where I need the skirt to mount nicely and like kind of fit it, try it, and if it works, like that's all that really matters, because under the skin it doesn't matter if that's dented. It's gonna happen again. It's a drift car. And then these little things, this one's bent, these are removable. There's nut zerts in there. This is just kind of keep the rear over and the skirt like kind of lined up, and sometimes they get banged up, and as you can see they're like fit on there a little tweaked. Maybe I won't need this as much anymore once I've fixed how that mounts. I got so many little details to keep going on, so I'm gonna keep working on it. I've cleaned up the firewall and some parts of like the battery box tray thing, so I'm gonna put those back in as soon as I take this out after the paint's dry, and then I'm gonna lift the car way up probably after that, and I'm gonna clean the floor, boring stuff, but then I can start putting stuff back together, and that's when it gets fun, because this part I've done it too many times. For me it's not that fun anymore. I just want to see the car coming back together because I want to get this done so I can put the engine in, fresh engine, break it in, go to the dyno, and go drive the car. All right, guys, I will show you what I'm doing here shortly. Oh, I think I needed to weld something. Had the welder over here. Yeah, if I think of what I was gonna weld, I will show you guys and we'll weld that together. Another day on the Supra. So we had updates on the back. Got some of the stuff back in, just cleaning everything. Then I went to the inside. I decided to change a couple things. So chill out system box sits right down in there on that little platform. It used to pull air out of a knock-a duct right here, so it's pulling air out of like the back of the car. I'm gonna change it so it pulls air now out of, let me show you what I'm talking about. So there's that tube, connects with this, which used to be part of right there. So it was kind of pulling air basically like right here. And it worked really good, but I guess it would probably work even better if I did it here, but then this is gonna be kind of ugly in my opinion. But what I'm gonna do is get like a little sheet of satin carbon fiber. I ordered it already. It's 3 mil thick, so it's roughly an 1/8 inch thick. I'll fasten this to that. It'll kind of sit like that. Won't be symmetrical any longer because this side I'm still gonna leave it a window that I had, which is like basically that right there. It's a cutout window, just a clear window with a little cutout. Then I came in here, pulled the battery box apart to clean in there, and I've just been kind of cleaning in here. I still need to wipe down everything and maybe undo all the electrical, wipe it down, then refasten it. Then later on today I started assembling little bits in the engine bay, just like firewall brackets as you can see, and starting to put the wiring back in. Power steering, nitrous solenoids. I got the 2 nitrous outlet solenoids and then the nitrous outlet purge. kind of just getting everything back in place, you know, that I've already cleaned or whatever. If I see something new, I go and mess with it. Then I installed the intercooler, so I got the Treadstone intercooler in there. And then what I needed to do was, this is my oil cooler. It's a CNR, it's a 21 plate inside here, cooler for the oil, and then coolant runs through here. So the way I do it is the coldest water is gonna go in the engine first, which is this one. That'll enter the engine, come out the engine, goes out of the engine, goes in here. So the reason I do it that way is because I want the engine oil to be slightly warmer than the coolant. It doesn't really do that. It kind of just is right on there, stays the same. So then I needed, this sits down in here like this, and I needed to build a bracket for it, but I wanted to use the cups and bungs that we sell, like these things down here. This is a bung welded onto the radiator. I mean, it's powder coated now, but aluminum bung, steel cup, and I like to build stuff this way because it's easy to access and remove. And I built one and it's drying. I painted it with the satin black. Oh, you guys are like, why are you putting a new one? I had one of these in there for multiple years, and for some reason the welder that had built it didn't penetrate on the weld. So one time it burst open here, like the first time I was using it on the dyno, but I had powder coated it already. It was all beautiful and it burst open there. Then I ground off the powder coat, re-welded it, and then it did it again. And so I can't remember where it did it the second time, but it was like the guy that welded it must have just not had enough heat. And I should have just sent it back, but I was like in a rush and they weren't always like just in stock, ready to go. They also don't come with these ORBs. I guess I could have asked for that. They come with just like a 1.5 inch, like where you put a silicone hose on or whatnot. Anyways, I cut those off and I weld those on there. And then I just welded these bungs on the bottom here. And I made that bracket so that I can mount this all in there where it used to go. Made it all level, and it's pretty cool. So this kind of helped me orientate where it was gonna sit exactly, and then I test fit this pipe and made sure that everything's out of the way. There's a decent amount of room. Oh, that is not good. Decent amount of room. See that, what just happened? Let's see if it still fits. That didn't really fight too hard. You really don't want to drop these for that reason there, guys. Gotta pay more attention, huh? I'll check that and make sure it's not gonna nick the O-ring. If it is, I gotta build a new one. The other day I was like, hey, I got the welder out, I need to weld something. One of the things was all those, the cups and bungs and the brackets down there. Another thing I need to weld is I have to, this one I'm not looking forward to, is fixed for the side skirts, so I guess that's next. Also, a little bit, I was doing some fiberglass work. I repaired this. I think I showed you guys that, and then I need to now, this is Kevlar and fiberglass, but I need to fix this because I ran these last year, but might as well just patch it. There's a little crack here, some cracks there, like a little one starting, and then these for sure. Just patch that, clean it up, and then I'll peel the wrap off of it. Timmy could paint those when he paints the other panels, because then we could rerun that again. So it's already had a little damage. We'll probably damage it more. Back of a drift car. So I should be expecting some parts coming up maybe tomorrow or the next day. Keep rolling on this and share with you guys what we're doing. Starting to look good again. I'm excited to get it back together. We're back for some more small details. So I was in here cleaning stuff. I patched a hole where the knock duct used to be. Not as beautiful as it could be, but you can't tell. Then I just started connecting stuff back together, put this bulkhead in, connected my radio bulkhead. I still have to tighten this down, but the nitrous line. Then I started doing wire harnesses. So I was kind of doing the front wire harness too. Then I thought I should, get on the ground. So I always make sure to grind my grounds down perfectly with every year sanding disc, so that really good metal to metal surface area on my grounds, because they matter. So you guys should do the same. I have a couple in the engine bay, I think 4. So you see that shiny one over there, one here, one there. So those are all for the engine. And then this, I guess there's like 1 or 2 connectors that go to the engine. out of this loom that comes through this bulkhead, but it's mostly headlights and other stuff like that. So that's the main ground there. So I just ground that raw. I'm gonna bolt this down. I have to remake this ground on this side because it saw too much heat. Let's see if I can find that for you guys. Here's the cold side of my engine. I should probably clean this. Doesn't look horrible, but it looks a little dirty. Even got ARP bolts on those because it's in the bay. That ground is fine because it didn't see much heat. Here's my other two grounds I'd like to remake. This one goes behind the head. This one sees a lot of heat and vibration and whatnot, but starting to decide to, I guess nothing happened with the wires, but heat shrink and stuff is failing. So I'm just gonna build a freshie that this was 3-4 years old probably. Same with this one. This one goes off the alternator. As you can see, it sees too much heat that it broke at least the heat shrink and even like the sheathing of the wiring split there. I don't get it because I guess that's under the exhaust manifold and it's next to, so that's the one that goes right here and it loops down under here and goes to the post on the alternator. So I guess this is like at any given point 200 and something degrees. Exhaust manifold is really hot, so that's probably why those two failed. Still waiting on some radium bits to show up, then I could cover that with you guys. And then I was in here today, not on all of them, but see some of these fresh ones that have more of that sticky metal tape. I put those on holes because you can see it's starting to lift. We need, I don't know, we don't want smoke coming in here. Something I'm gonna change. See that reservoir? I built that a long time ago, like 10 years ago or some crazy long time ago. I'm gonna switch it over to this tiny little motorcycle brake reservoir thing that I found online. That's this little billet reservoir, but it's for brake fluid. I upsized this to a -4. They had like a smaller fitting on there that I didn't like, so I drilled it out a little bit, tapped it, upsized it. They made this little bracket with it. I might make my own, I don't know yet. I want to mount that somewhere like in this area here. The other one used to be mounted over here, which you could get to it easily from the window, but since I'm changing my window, I gotta change that. And I also didn't like when you're bleeding it sometimes, since it went like nest of hoses there and wires, which gets a little cleaned up because some go towards the battery, but it ran up there along this nitrous line back here, and then it came up over to here. And for some reason, when you're bleeding it, you'd almost have to undo some P-clamps there and like undo it and lift it up higher because of gravity feed. So I didn't like that. So the new way that I route it will be more gravity fed to the master and the handbrake, and then it should make bleeding it a little easier. It won't be easy to get in to fill it. You'll have to climb in on the seats and whatnot, but you're not bleeding the handbrake too often. I don't think much else happened in the engine bay except me installing that front harness there. It's just like tiny details. I was cleaning the chill out system, like my AC system for my shirt that I wear when it's really hot. I was cleaning that, tried to take it like pretty far apart, and it got to where I feel like I was gonna mess up one of the circuit boards because it's like this tightly packed little unit that's only like 12 inches by 8 by 8. Essentially, it's a miniature AC system, like that would be like a full inclusive AC system. Kind of cool, but I didn't want to break it, so I called them and they're like, oh, we can take it apart and clean it in one day and turn it around and ship it the next day. Send it, we got you. So I'm like, all right. So I just sent it, did that this morning, and we're about to start working on body panels shortly. I just dread that, so I keep putting it off. Let's get back to it and I'll fill you in what I do next. Safety, huh? Safety first, right guys? I don't know how to fix this. Never done it before. So I cut a line right here. Don't know what I'm gonna find on the inside layer. Let me pry it open. I feel like it's not really fixable how we would all want it to be. So my thought was, there's a lot of, yeah, just throw that down there. There's a lot of layers. Try not to get through to anything else. So what I'm gonna do is pry that back, because in theory, this is supposed to be flat and then step down for the skirt to hook onto, or that's just how the car was. Like, see how it's even pushed in right here? So this should all be like out here, you know? But it's been bumped enough times to go in further, 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 and then boom, this was a good one. I'm gonna try and pull this out and then go up in there and then hammer that flat, see where I can get. The sad thing is this is wrinkled here And I don't know how much effort I want to even put into this and waste time because, like I said last time we were talking about this, it's gonna happen again. Maybe not that bad, you know, I'm not gonna make it all beautiful. I'm just gonna get to work, but I have no idea how to go about doing this perfectly without replacing that whole edge, and I'm not gonna replace. One idea that you guys might have is like cut all the sheet out, and even you could go in here and cut that out, and then just bend a piece on a brake that's like comes out, comes down, comes back out, comes back down, and connects in, which might be the solution. I don't know yet, we'll see how far I get, but if I do that, I'm gonna have to cut more out. And then this edge here I'd never be able to make perfect, so maybe I'll just start it in here. If I vaguely remember seeing the side of Odie's car with the skirts off, I think he did that exact thing on one of his S14s or 15s. All right, that's enough talking, gotta get back to cutting. Okay, new plan. Look at that, guys. Woo! It finds its way everywhere, doesn't it? The under part of the structure has a dent right here. I'm not so worried about any of that. This car is like super overbuilt, so there's like a couple different layers going through of where it has plenty of meat left. So anyways, gonna vacuum that out. See the expanding foam? That prevents that, but that may have been from previous. It might still fall in that hole there. We're gonna cap the back here more, like weld something in or bolt something in, but yeah, that at one point before I had expanding foam, probably did like 2 seasons of Pro 2 that way maybe, and I would be cleaning this out every time, but like you can only get so much of it out. I bet you that's just residual. Crazy thing is sometimes you'd even find a cigarette butt or something that got picked up off the track and sucked in there. Okay, so now my plan is, the reason I cut so much and folded it down, see here, I dented this, I'll fix that. It's not, this isn't gonna be beautiful, guys, but what I'm gonna do, fold this way down. I need to get some gloves on, clean up that edge a little bit so I don't cut myself open, but then I can pull up in here with some tools and hammer down on it, and I bet you I could fix this lip here. I don't even have to add anything new in. See how it's nut zerted? We got a new plan, guys. Many of you have probably seen these, maybe you haven't. Welded and threaded things, like a weld bolt, but it's not even a bolt. Let's see what they're called. Round base. They're like weld-in round bases. I don't know, I found them on McMaster car. I like hardware a lot, as you guys can tell. I like to have everything I need. So these are M5 actually. Sucks that they look like they're zinc plated. I'll just grind it real quick, weld it, hit it with some paint. I'm gonna use those because these use an M5 to hold the skirt on, but I had a certain spot I was using, like a certain hole where the skirt would be held on, then that got blown out, and I relocate and it got blown out. Been through hell and back. Okay, let me get to work on this a little more, see how we can make it look. I bet you I can fix it okay though. It won't look beautiful, but it'll just work good until its next smashing event, you know? Okay, so I was able to lift and pull everywhere. It worked decent back there, but it wasn't very messed up back there. Where this has been shrank and wrinkled in on itself, it's getting bad. Let's take a walk over and look at what a Supra that's not messed up at all would look like. I was gonna go to the other Drift Supra, but it's been hit on all the sides as well a little bit. So basically, we're looking for that line like that. Doesn't have to be perfect. A little less than 2 finger width there. On the lip, yeah, we're gonna be pretty far off of that. Probably never get back to that, but like I said, I'm only gonna put so much effort into something that's gonna get ruined. If this was like my specialty and I was a metal body guy, maybe I would spend some effort on here, but I just don't want to worry about this car. I want to drive it hard, but I want it to look good from the outside. So I need to make the skirt fit good. I need to get this further enough out that the skirt's not bound up. I also need to make sure the skirt and the door can close and it doesn't mess me up here. So probably can't finish this tonight. I need to pop this area out. I need to try and fix this a little bit, but then I need to hammer down on this more to get it lower so the door can clear this, you know, destroyed area. And then I would worry about tacking in those little things I showed you guys, these things. after I have those kind of tacked in and maybe grind some of this paint off and like push this up and weld this back to here, you know, tack weld it like 10 times on there. So it's kind of in place, not finished, but kind of in place. Then we could work on mounting a skirt real quick a couple times if the skirt's kind of effortlessly going in place. And we'll be like, all right, so the skirt works. Then I gotta mount a door. And of course, this is the door that's messed up. The door in itself is like hours of work because it doesn't have any of the holes for the hinges on this side or for the piece that goes through that holds the door from swinging all the way open. I need to drill this out for the door handle, and I need to drill this side out and open it up for the closing latch section. So it's more of like a couple days before I'm fully done with this, and then probably weld all of it back together and then grind it down, then hit it with some paint. Okay, back to work. All right guys, we're back on the Supra. We got Daniel here today. We're doing body panels. Look at that side of the car, it looks like a whole car again. Isn't that nice? We got a hood on here. Stuff's starting to line up. Bodywork is not my favorite, and panels, fiberglass, carbon, Kevlar, all the above. When you gotta grind them and massage them in place, it's just, I hate it, but we gotta do it because we want the car to look really nice, and I'm very particular about all the fitments, so we're doing it today. We're just trying to fill you guys in. I know there's a ton of stuff happening, ton of details. I can't show you everything, I can't film everything, and there's a lot of stop and go on my end, so it's like I'm trying to, when a decent chunk of work has been done, show you why I did it, what we did. I know that maybe kind of could get lost in the whole picture of this, like you'd just be like, wow, a ton of stuff is happening, but I just try and show you like how intricate a race car is and what needs to be kind of checked, which is everything, and why I'm doing it. So I'm trying to do my best to do that. Probably should get a little more detailed and show you exactly why certain things instead of showing you everything, but maybe next episode we'll get deep into that where I just pick one thing to focus on. But check this out. So remember how blown out that was? I had cut this all open, showed you guys that, was working on it, and then with Daniel's help today where he could hold it, he would hold it and pinch it and I would tack it, and then kind of got like every 2 inches tacked. Yeah, it still looks like a wrinkled paper bag, but that's what it's gonna look like. I'm not gonna cut the whole thing out and make it beautiful. I might do that later, but I'll do it to both sides when I do that. I'm happy with what I was able to accomplish, which was retain this lip that had been pushed in so hard before. So I still have that lip. This shelf here is flat, the door can close, so, and then I repainted it. You guys know it's there because I showed you, but when the car's all back together, let's walk to the other side, you don't ever see that part of the car. It's not even visible. It's like, this is what you guys will see. So the car will look perfect. With the exception of me opening the door, you would see the top of that shelf, but nah, like for all the pictures and videos, you just see the outside of the car. So I'm happy with it because I know it's gonna get more dense. It happens each year. We're getting back on the back here. We've installed this. This is a used one. I ran it last year. I kind of patched it, showed you guys that, but it's good to go to Long Beach this year. Fresh rear bumper on here. Daniel's kind of getting familiar with how the parts kind of go together here and whatnot, so that this season he kind of doesn't have to guess because he's been here as the car goes back together. So that's kind of the back. We're not working on like the components yet. We're just doing body today and tomorrow. We did the driver's side. We're about to jump over to the passenger side. We had painted this earlier today, so it's gonna get scuffed a little bit, so we're trying to give it as much time to dry. And then after all that happens, I'll get back onto like the systems and putting subframes and whatnot back in the car. But these panels, they'll get fully installed and they'll come back off, and then we will take them to paint and whatnot, the ones that need to get painted. That's about it. I'm outside right now working on rear bumpers because we're gonna bring 3 this season. Something you just have to have extras of. So since this bumper was made for factory Mark IV, like street car, if someone wants it, the mold comes all the way out like a stock bumper would, but I like to trim my bumper there so there's just less going on and less stuff for the race car. I get these factory Toyota little brackets that are like the bumper retainers, and I fasten them in with 4 rivets, and then this is kind of how the bumper stays together with that rear plug and stays on the car. Even if you smack a wall, it's not going to come off because it's all pinched together. This is one bumper. I got one more I'm doing outside. He's fitting multiple skirts, so he's on a second skirt. He has to fit another front fender on that side. Then we'll go to the other side of the car and do 2 of everything, because we want to have 2 of every panel, if not 3 for the rear of the car. I start out the season with 3 of these. If you had to, I guess you'd do a 4th one, but usually I only use 2 and I'll come home. This one is how it'll travel in the trailer. I still need to fit that one a little better. It needs a couple more cuts on it and drilling some stuff. Rear fenders, 1 set on the car, 1 pair extra that's painted and wrapped, and then you'll bring, like, I'll probably set up 1 more. There's 2 pair there, but set up 1 more of those as like unwrapped, but it's painted, so it's kind of ready to go. And if like you mess up a second back corner or whatever, you're like, okay, let's get some more vinyl and wrap it at the next round or whatever, and you kind of like ship yourself some stuff and you get there a day early, or Renee and I will, and we'll like wrap the back piece or whatever we need to do. It's just better to be prepared than like, oh crap, we're on the other side of the country and we don't have what we need. Oh, and one other thing I did that I had been wanting to do, I did that jacking point where I can adjust it. So I welded in a threaded flange nut. So I'm probably gonna like tighten this down, lock it, and I think only that much longer should be good. That'll give us the space we need. Yeah, that's the quick update. We'll try and get you a finished product tonight before we go home. I won't have headlights, but maybe it'll have like that whole side of the car on, this whole side of the car on, and if we're lucky, a front bumper, which would be a cool ending point. We'll see how it goes. And it continues. Doing rear plugs, rear bumpers. Whoa, fiberglass. Front bumpers. I kind of regret not filming a couple minutes ago because I was just like white dust head to toe, but it was like really irritating me, so I went and blew myself off outside with shop air. But I should have shared that moment with you guys. So we got everything fitted. I even fitted 3 of the front bumpers. We usually use 1 front bumper. I did 3 because I have 3 here that are new, and I was like, well, I'm doing it. And the reason is, oh, wait. So front fender, we mounted 2 pairs. This little tab thing here, this little tab system, pretty cool thing we came up with so it never blows out. So just a little piece of aluminum, not a tab, I guess, just like a backing plate thing that's ovalized, so as you're putting the bumper on with the through bolt that's built into the bumper, it kind of grabs in, and then you can locate where you like it to fit, tighten it down on the other side, on the inside, and then we also use that like spring system as a redundancy thing. So what I have to do is I make these little plates and I weld just like an M6 flange bolt to it, and then I glue the plate in there. They're still epoxying right now. But I was like, well, I'm doing a bumper, I'll do a second one, I'll do a third one. So I'll bring a second one in the trailer in case of a front end thing where I mess up a bumper so bad that it doesn't look presentable, and then you'll switch it. But typically you don't need a new front bumper. This side of the car lined up real good. The other side, since that rocker was pretty destroyed, we've been a little bit of fighting with it, but we're close. We had to end up, instead of utilizing the normal threaded spot was right around here, it wasn't gonna make contact because it's so pushed in there even after the stuff we did. We went back to about here. He's currently working on it. Right, so I had to mess up the new paint, and the hole's slightly misaligned. It's gotta be. Yeah, so maybe ovalize it. And then we're gonna push in. Once the fiberglass heats up a couple times, it'll kind of change its shape a tiny bit and be happy where it's at. And then we even had to put a new bolt hole down below. We welded in a new one. I already hit it with paint. I don't know if you could see that, hopefully you did. And then we were thinking, while we're here, just keep mounting rear panels. We're not gonna bring that many with us. We're starting with a set we used last year. We had an extra set in the trailer that we didn't use last year. We'll use those, and then we'll bring 1 more set. So then we'll end up having an extra pre-fitted mounted set here that we could start off the season with next year, whatever's left over, you know? Just because we had it here, we were like, let's do it. Trying to think, it's just everything takes so long. So with these, I have this thing that comes out of the mold for us, and then I have to drill holes. I have to mount rear bumper on there. Taillight wiring goes through here. Then the way I like to mount it where it's kind of crashable and easy to fix is I gotta trim this because the car kind of overlaps, and then you drill a hole in here where it mounts to the chassis. And then we put like a little aluminum bracket under here, and it helps it not want to just snap that part off there somehow. It'll want to crack back here, and then you just repair back there. So we're gonna mount these two, have them all ready, because there is some other holes we drill in it to mount it to like the tabs we have in the chassis. We're gonna do that. We're gonna put the hatch on. The body stuff is pretty much gonna be done by the time Daniel has to go home tonight, which is a good feeling. Then we gotta drop him off with our buddy Timmy. He's got to paint a bunch of body panels, so he's not gonna like that. But that's one step closer. Then we focus on driveline stuff, take apart this Sedev transmission. It had no issues, but I'm gonna take it apart, show you guys the inside of a Sedev, show you what we're checking for and why. I'm probably gonna decide to replace a piece or two just to make it perfect brand new unit again. And then that's our spare. And we used last year's freshly refreshed one from the previous year or whatever that just rode in the trailer. That'll be our starting point this year, and it's the same box, same everything. You just rotate which one goes that year. Then we do the engine and also a bunch of other stuff, so it seems like never ending, but we're getting closer, guys. It happened again, guys. Stupid fiberglass. I feel sorry for those that work with fiberglass all the time. So what we're doing is pre-fitment, pre-drilling holes for everything on the last two rear pieces, I guess, huh? Basically, right?
Pretty much, yeah. We still got to test fit other...
Well, we still got two rear oversets to test fit, but yeah, the reason I got all covered in fiberglass again is we're like fitting this portion right here, and then after we fit the fender and it sets the precedent of where it needs to go and we close the hatch, then when everything's kind of dialed, then you drill this through bolt here. Because if we do it before and you're like think it can match the other one, sometimes it does, sometimes it needs a little bit more finessing than the one that was just pulled off. And it seems like all day I just get covered in fiberglass. Hopefully we only have one more day of this, or maybe this could be the last day. It'd be great. Yeah, that'd be great. And just like that, I guess there's a hood and a hatch, but no other panels on it yet again. So much effort goes into body panels, and you just know you're gonna break some of them. Frustrating. Okay, look at this, guys. That's this year's body kit budget. I'll remove these from those. They can't travel that way. It's too large of a thing. One would be on the car, and 2 and 3 will travel like in stacks, like 2 bumpers together, 2 plugs together. One would be with the car, for the car. One will be in storage for extra. Lots of sets of everything. That was quite the weekend, but something you guys know now is that it's really important to have a lot of spares for your race car because you're gonna break stuff. And then also what I was gonna say is it's super important to fit it when it's not painted yet. So if there's an imperfection or something with drilling a hole, you can then have your paint guy fix the hole or whatever. If you accidentally mess one up real bad or whatever, or you can fix it before you go to paint, stuff like that. That's what me and Daniel did, and he's got to drive home, so say bye to Daniel, guys.
Bye, guys. Till next time.
Till next time. All right. See you guys.